NCBM 0324, Section 2.4, Rounding and Finance Formula Practice, Part 4. So we've seen future value annuities, but what about present value annuities? So looking at the formula, we can see that it looks pretty similar to what we just worked with, but there are some major differences. So in the present value annuity formula, we can see that the subtraction of 1 and the fraction-y parentheses part have switched places. The other big difference is that my exponent is now going to be negative. So keep those in mind, that we have to make sure that we're entering these in the right order to keep that formula correct. So let's try it on this one. Again, we're rounding to the nearest cent at the very end. We're looking for the present value. They give us a payment, an interest rate, a time, and a value for M. Plugging in our pieces into our formula, this is what we would start with, right? Plug in the present, the payment value, the interest rate, the time, the M, to find the present value. That's going to be our goal. Well, we're going to start in the same place. Start by looking at your power. So let's do that. It's the easy part. So 4 times 20 is going to give me 80, but because we're in a present value situation, that's going to be a negative 80 in the power. So here's where we bring in the calculator. All right, funny enough, we're going to start in the same place. We're going to look at that parentheses with the addition in there and start with the fraction part. So that's where order of operations kind of helps us, just reminds us that we need to start in these same places because that's what the order calls for. So from here, I'm going to add 1. Okay, we get 1.01. This is looking pretty nice so far. Then this 1.01 is all of this inside of my parentheses. I need to raise that to the negative 80th power. So negative 80 as an exponent. And now we get to our more complicated decimals. So now we have this as my upper right-hand part of my fraction, the upper right-hand side here. This is where we got to be very careful. Oftentimes we can just simply make the mistake of saying -1 at this point. But that's not what we need. We need 1 minus this decimal. See how that order is flipped around? So we'll use that answer button again. We'll keep in mind this is the decimal that we need to come after the subtraction. So without clearing my calculator, I'm going to enter 1 minus, in my case I hit the answer. And that gives me my next decimal value. And what does this represent then? This represents all of the numerator, all of that numerator, that big fraction. But I still have a denominator I need to divide by. So here comes the double division. So again, without clearing, I do a divide. So see, that answer is taking that decimal we just found, put it in there for me. Without clearing, I'm going to enter exactly as I see it in my denominator now. Divided by 4, close parentheses. So, by the way, this is how your calculator is reading it. It's going to do this division and then do the larger division, right? It's making sure that we're doing this in the right order. That gives me 54.888,20611. It's pretty nice. Is that our answer, though? Well, it's our answer for the fraction, but it's not our answer for the whole problem, because what do we still have in the front? We have that 2,000. So we're keeping that till the very end. And there's my answer. So we have 109,776.4122. But if I'm rounding to the nearest cent, 2 decimal places, check that 2 and makes the 1 stay the same because it's smaller than 5. And we get our final answer, 109,776 with 41 cents. So the order, how we enter this, makes a big difference. Now, we didn't say it in the future value problems, but once you get the hang of it, once you get used to your calculator, yes, you might be able to enter this all at once. If you do that though, you want to be very careful with the fraction part of it, the large fraction part. So something you may want to add are an extra set of parentheses to enclose the fraction piece from everything else. You also may need another set of parentheses to make sure that your numerator remains in the right place, because both the 1 minus and all of this other part inside the parentheses, all of that is my numerator. All of that is being divided by this 0.04 divided by 4. Then to enter this, we could follow our notation, keeping track of our parentheses, making sure we keep things enclosed as they should be, making sure we only raise the right things to that negative power, that we close off any numerator values that we parentheses that we opened up to keep things in the right place, keeping track of the larger set of parentheses that's keeping everything enclosed here, we get to our answer. So practice, parentheses, all of that comes together to enter it all at once. But again, if you don't feel comfortable with that right away, enter it piece by piece and you'll still get to the same answer.